My name is Mike Parsons. I'm a second-year assistant professor in the communication department. What really motivated me to do it was when I started noticing a disconnect between what I thought my students were capable of in terms of writing and what I was actually getting for product in my classes. I didn't know where that disconnect was coming from. I hadn't seen it at previous places I had taught before, and I was trying to figure out how I could solve it, how I could get better writing out of my students. I figure, well, I need to be doing something better, so let's be a better teacher of writing. Turns out I wasn't actually teaching them how to write. They were coming into my classes and I was assuming that they knew how to write, and it was just my job to teach them the content, and they would put two and two together, and somehow the magic sauce of them being able to do writing in communication would come out the other side. And you know, I think somehow deep down that I knew that there was something different about writing and communication, but you know, after so many years in school, you do enough writing for yourself and you know the research that you put out, but you forget what it's like to be an undergrad learning how to write in your classes for the first time. And you realize that there is something different about writing in your discipline. It's not the same thing as writing in English or writing in science or writing in history or writing wherever the places that it is that you are taught how to write. It was just a matter of me putting away that assumption that they know how to write, thus they know how to write in this class. Once I got past that assumption, things have been a lot better. Well, I've been really focusing on a couple of big things: low stakes writing and peer review. Those were the big things that, I took a lot of things away from the summer seminar, but those are the two big things that I've been implementing in my classes so far. I take, for the various assignments, the big writing assignments that I use in the classes that I teach, I break them down and bootstrap them throughout the semester with a lot of low-stakes writing assignments. So they're seeing the concepts at early stages in very simple forms with low-stakes writing through Blackboard discussion board assignments with really simple, small writing assignments, the kinds of things that I think other people are probably doing, but we do on a repetitive but increasing maybe in size basis. We use them as building blocks, I think, throughout the semester. And then I do what I hope is a pretty sophisticated peer review process, which I view as a discussion between the author of the draft and their peer. So it's not just a unstructured, here's my document, read it, give me feedback. It is a system where the author starts with, this is what I want to get out of this peer review process. Then they give the document to the peer, and the peer reads it, gives them some feedback on some pretty set in stone items. There is a document that goes along with it, a peer review sheet. And then once that has come back to the author is then asked to list some specific things. Now that I have this feedback, what am I going to change in my draft? So it's a conversation between them and the peer, and they walk away from that peer review session with specific points of feedback from their peer and specific things to change. And the improvement from draft phase to what gets turned in is a lot bigger than it's been in the past. I think some of those papers that get slammed down on the desk that, you know, has a faculty member saying, you know, students can't write, might be worth reevaluating whether it's an issue of can't write or can't write in the discipline. Maybe that student could write in another context. Maybe that student knows how to write a paper in English. Maybe that student knows how to write a history paper. Maybe that student just has never learned how to write a paper in communication, or a paper in biology, or a paper in physics, because they have never really been given the chance to figure out what the rules of that particular context are. I know that was one of the problems I was dealing with, and I think I've done a better job of giving my students the tools how to teach, how to write papers in communication, and they are producing better papers as a result. Because I'm not assuming that students walk in just because they know how to write a paper in English or a paper in history. They know how to write a paper in communication. There are certain grammars and vocabularies that translate from one context to the other, but there are some new ones that have to be learned every time you come into a class in another discipline. So I think we need to be willing to teach students those and just not assume that because they know how to write in one place that we should expect them to be able to write in the other place.